So, when do we want to start this? Like right now? Like right
I'd be
now?
okay with it.
Okay.
Whenever it's fine with you guys.
Alright, I'm just going to... Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Power Gunner, and I'm here with Ian, or I guess United Gaming Community. Sometimes I don't even know what to call him anymore. And the Funky Duck. So, say hi, I guess.
Oh,
What's up?
welcome.
You can introduce yourselves if you want, or whatever. Ah! Yeah.
Well, you start us off.
Alright, so...
Yeah.
This is a series we're starting. Probably won't go on for too long because we pretty much only have time to record these on like Fridays, and there's only 3 more weeks until Second Son is out. But this is a series where we are in a PlayStation 4 party chat, and we just talk about the game and our different, like, any ideas or anything about the game, and it should be pretty fun. I'm sure I'm going to include some sort of a commentary in this later, talking about what parts are going to be on whose channel, but this will be on multiple channels of ours. But yeah, I'm pretty sure part 1 is on mine. So yeah, I'll link their channels in the description, whatever we figure out with that. So let's start it off. Duck. So Ian
Yes.
Ian had an idea that we almost started talking about, but we're like, oh, we gotta wait for the video. So I'm going to okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is what we want to do first in Second Son, and like if we're going to mess around first, and how much we enjoy messing around in video games.
So we only like take turns.
I don't care, just do whatever. I've been talking a lot, so
Alright.
you guys can say
Right.
stuff first. Someone.
Doc, you go ahead.
Are you
Alright.
sure? You
Well-
brought up the topic.
Yeah, I know, but I wanna ponder my thoughts a little bit.
Okay, I will let you ponder there for a moment. So, in Second Son, I think the first thing I'm going to do, well, obviously, I'm going to unbox the game, make a video of that, and then, this is kind of surprising, but I'm actually going to take it and put it in my PlayStation. The next, what I'll do is start it up and play it, probably on hard, but I might not do it on hard, like, I don't know, I might do it on medium, just for the best experience for the first time playing it, but hard would be fun, because I play inFAMOUS a lot, so I'm kind of good at it, but hard still kills me a lot. But yeah, anyways, let's see, I am going to, like, play the first few missions, which I would assume are in the Indian Reserve town. Then I think, like, Delson absorbs the smoke power. There's probably some sort of an intro cinematic that might be in a graffiti style, explaining some things. And once I finish the first few missions and it lets me free roam, then I am going to mess around, and first thing I'll do is jump in water and see what happens. That's probably what I'll do.
All right, that sounds pretty good. Actually, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I know what happens when you jump in water. I found a video from the European IGN. It was like the British IGN people, and they were talking
I
about
was
it.
watching one from the
and-
Australian one. That might be what it was.
I'm not exactly sure, but as far as neon powers go, I know what happens when you jump in the water, but I won't spoil it for anybody.
That's not really a spoiler because it's information before the game comes out, really.
That's
I already
true,
know what
but
it
since,
is.
you know,
I guess I should mention what that is to people who don't know, but basically in the
if you want to do
demo
it, go for it.
that they had, someone who played it, they jumped in water, and
Yeah.
Delson didn't die, but there was just a thing on the screen saying, like, press, I think it was something on the touchpad to respawn, and then it just respawned them on land. I'm going to be really mad if that's in the actual version of the game because it just feels so cheap.
Yeah, it does.
So hopefully you either die so it makes sense, or it lets you swim in some way, or some powers let you get across the water faster, because that just seems really cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Which
would
that
make
would really
me
work
mad,
out for
but
the snow
I'm pretty
power.
sure that was just in the demo
Yeah,
version
yeah,
of the game.
if that's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would be neat, especially with neon. I thought it would be cool if you could just neon dash across the top of the water.
Yeah. You
Oh,
might
yeah.
be able to.
That would be so sweet.
Mhm.
Duck hasn't
So I
talked
guess I'll go
much.
next. If you guys are if you're done.
Yeah, sure. Just
You go ahead.
we're just
Alright.
having a conversation. Join in whenever you want, really.
So while you guys do your little unboxing things, by the time I put in the game, there won't be a box left. So yeah, nothing's gonna get in the way.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a box, and it's no use. Whatever. Anyway, I don't know what the first thing I'm gonna do is. Obviously, it's something that we don't know a lot about already, and
So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
which
No,
version
don't
of
really
the
know?
game are you
I
guys
hadn't
getting?
put too much thought into it. No.
Yeah, Doc, which version of the game are you getting?
I'm only gonna get the normal version.
All right.
Oh,
I
really?
don't pre-order yeah, I don't pre-order things.
Oh, I know Pyro's getting collector's edition. I'm getting the collector's edition too. So me and him are going to be on the same level as far as that goes.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in the Beanie Club.
The Beanie Club. I like that. Okay, so the first thing I think I'm going to do as soon as I get some free roaming time, whether it's on the Indian Reserve or it's in Seattle, the first thing I want to do is jump through a vent. I want to just dash through a vent and
That looks
come
so
up
much
soaring
fun.
over the top of the city. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And that like animation just looks so cool. Like pretty much
It
every
does.
animation does.
Oh yeah, it's a lot better.
Shout out to Billy Harper for being awesome.
Oh yes, yeah, he's amazing. Something I wanted to mention though earlier, Pyro, you said you thought the opening cinematic was going to be like a spray paint kind of, well, almost similar to the Infamous 1 cutscenes,
Yeah.
except more spray paint style. What I was wondering is, in all of the trailers that we've seen so far, all of the gameplays anyway, there's been a lot of very more movie-like cutscenes. There hasn't been a lot of comic cutscenes that we've seen. It's more
Yeah.
of like a really, it feels like Uncharted. It's more cinematic.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if we're going to see a lot less of those paint comic-style cutscenes.
I think
Yeah, they're probably gonna want to use the technology they have more
Yeah.
for that now, since they can show it off now.
it's always kind of the style of Infamous, and we've seen it some like at the end of the Fetch trailer and at the initial reveal event. There's some stuff like that. I think we're going to see a few, but not that many. I heard in some article, someone said that Sucker Punch said that there are only 4 cutscenes in the game that were rendered before and just made into video files. And I'm thinking that those 4 are probably going to be them. And so that's probably just going to be like 2 ending cutscenes, 1 beginning one, and like maybe 1 in the middle when a twist happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Because, yeah. But that is a pretty big change, only having 4 of those in it, I would assume, because they said there's only 4 pre-rendered cutscenes in the game.
And after the Fetch trailer, you know, after he drains Fetch's powers, you can kind of see a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll happen to every conduit you drain.
That's a pretty good theory.
Kind of like giving them the backstories and stuff, where they came from and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good way to
'Cause
explain it.
It seems kind of like when he absorbs their power, then he gets some of their thoughts and knows about some of their past.
Yeah.
That's something that none of us have really talked about before, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's
I don't know why we
true.
haven't. Okay.
Now's a better time than ever.
Yeah. One thing that's similar to that I told Ian earlier today was that I think that, well, first of all, I think it's very unlikely that this game will have anything where it messes up big time and does something bad. But I think that the biggest possible way that this game could mess up is by making too many other conduit characters just so that you can get all of their powers, and because of that, having a bunch of characters that aren't really expanded upon much and are just boring characters or something.
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid that they would have a Nyx character in this game, like a character
Oh,
like Nyx.
Christ.
Oh yeah.
No.
I think they've
Please.
learned from their mistakes, but I hope not.
Like, yeah, Nick seems like a.
Yeah.
I mean, not Nick.
Delphin?
Fetch.
Fetch,
Like
Fetch, alright.
Yeah, sorry. She seems like a pretty well-developed character, and
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't make most of their other characters like that.
Well, I mean, here's something you have to think about, though. The people who voice act the main three characters so far, Delson is Troy Baker, and then Reggie is Travis Willingham, who is best friends with Troy Baker, and then Fetch is, what is her name?
Dang it.
Howard, you would know.
I'm following her on Twitter. Hold on. It's
Right.
it's right on the tip of my tongue. I almost just blurted it
Yeah.
out, but I can't.
Isn't it like
It's,
Bailey something?
Laura Bailey.
Yes, yes.
And Laura Bailey is married to Travis Willingham, so they're all like best friends. So that's why that chemistry in the game and the characters are so well developed like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good advantage that they have. I think with the other characters it'll also be good, but that's just something extra that they have with those characters, which so far seem like they're going to be the 4 main characters. I'm saying 4 because probably the lady who we think is named Augustine is probably one of the main characters.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, she has to be. She's, as far as we know, she's the leader of the DUP, and so right now she seems like the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be the main antagonist. I'd say maybe at first, but I think some worse antagonist might take her place because Sucker Punch has hinted at Delson draining the concrete power from her, which I guess she has it. They haven't said if she actually does or not. And I was thinking, like, maybe that's an evil choice to drain concrete from her. And also, she might not be in the game as much or as bad once you actually do that to her, because you would probably have to beat her in a boss fight to do that. So then someone else is probably going to step in as the main villain.
Yeah. And let's not forget that most of the other Infamous games have multiple factions.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That's one thing we don't know,
I'm sure
too.
this
the
one
only
has
faction...
more than just the DUP, and they are just not revealing it, because there is going to be some big plot twists, I think. Just like the other games.
There's going to be a lot of plot twists. And the only factions that we know of are the DUP and thugs, the drug dealers. Those are the only 2 that we know so far.
And the thugs aren't really an official faction either, like the Dustmen or the Reapers or the First Sons or the Militia were or something, or the Ice Gang.
Yeah. Something else I actually thought about for a while. Remember Infamous 2, the power trance device that was used on all of the Icemen to give them their powers? Well, I was thinking, since all of the First Sons are connected, the DUP, this is just an assumption, there's probably a connection between the First Sons and the DUP, hidden somewhere behind closed curtains, deep in the Black Ops part of government. There's a connection between the DUP and the First Sons. So,
I think so.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
does
ahead.
the DUP have access to a power transfer device? Because that would explain how all of the DUP knights have the same concrete powers.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
that's
have
a
a theory
theory.
about
Or,
that too.
sorry, Duck. You
But
can talk first.
sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you haven't said much this
Yeah.
whole time, so talk
Go
as
for
much
it.
as you want.
In Infamous 2, you know, if you watch the little news segments and you read the dead drops and stuff, they mention how John and them thought the NSA and the First Sons were working together.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they had all the quarantine set up for Empire City so quickly. Like they knew something was going to happen.
And I believe
Yeah,
in the infamous comic, it was revealed that Moya was working for Kessler and the First Sons.
Yeah.
But because of my
Yes.
thoughts on the comics, I'm not sure if I'm ready to believe that. And I'm not sure if it's really super canon or not in the universe.
Well, I mean, the comics were published by DC, and I think they were authenticated by Nate Fox. I want to say Nate Fox was the one who gave authority to DC to publish them.
Yeah, well,
So
he's
if it's
the
someone
main
from Sucker
person
Punch
behind
is
the
doing
story.
Hmm.
I mean, I think the one reason that the comics weren't considered canon by a lot of people is because not a lot of people actually read them and got their hands on them.
Yeah.
Right.
And also what I talked about for me, it's just that Zeke and Cole are always referencing all the things they've done, and that's a pretty big thing that happens in the comics, and they never mention it in the least. When they constantly mention things that happened when they first visited Empire City in Infamous 2, when they first visited New Marais in Infamous 2, and they talk about back in Empire City and when Trish died and stuff. So, I don't know why they would skip over such an important thing. It might just be that they made the comics after they had already made the game. So,
Well, my personal opinion on that is it's just like I said earlier, not a lot of people read the comics. There wasn't, these things weren't widely distributed. They were kind of like a special thing. So Sucker Punch would give them out during giveaways on their Facebook page, and people who were lucky enough to get them got them. And since such a small amount of people, myself included, actually got to read them, I think they skipped over that on purpose, because if Zeke was talking to Cole in Infamous 2 and said, hey, you remember David Warner? You remember all these people from the comics? People playing the game would be like, what the hell is this? I never read the comics.
True.
I don't know this.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe when they wrote the comic, they shouldn't have made things be like so kind of important and big events then, if they didn't want that to happen, but I don't know. I'm confuzzled by it.
Well, that's what I felt like. Personally, in my opinion, I wish they would have incorporated the comics into Infamous 2, because that way we would have been able to stay in Empire City for at least a little bit, and then the beast comes kind of a little bit towards the middle of the game. That, in my opinion, would have made Infamous 2 a little better.
Yeah. And also, I feel kind of like with some of the things that they added in the game, it kind of feels like they were put in there so that the game would be filled with stuff and would be long enough, kind of. So maybe that would have actually worked out well. But I don't know if Sucker Punch would have wanted to have 2 open world maps in the game or what.
Well, you do have to remember, Sucker Punch was kind of pressured by Sony a little bit, because they were still working on Infamous 1. And I would say close to the time they were about to finish the first game, Sony comes along and says, hey, we've played your game, we've played Infamous 1, we think it's going to be really big when it comes out. Start working on Infamous 2. And Infamous 1 wasn't even finished yet. So they had to start the next game and get up ideas, and so they were kind of forced into that, and they had to make Infamous 2 a lot quicker than they would have liked to have made it.
Right. That would make a lot of sense. In that case.
I think. Okay, actually, I don't know what I think. Should we make a new topic? I was gonna say something, then I totally lost it or something. Okay,
Well,
let's see what I have down here for things to talk about.
how about that enjoy your power Easter egg?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well?
Okay, so basically, I'm pretty sure by the time this is uploaded, I've uploaded my trailer breakdown of those, but there is an Easter egg when you pause the trailer at certain points. It happens 3 times on walls or something. It says enjoyyourpower.com, and Sucker Punch never said anything about the website, like anywhere but this. They've only had it as an Easter egg in here. So
Well,
I went to...
I'll mention something a little bit later.
Okay. I went to enjoyyourpower.com, and you can make an account at a website that it links you to called inFAMOUS
Paper Trail?
Yeah. At inFAMOUS Paper Trail. And you can do things to unlock some bonus missions when the game comes out. And there's also some other articles that it links you to talking about a company called Bioframe Diagnostics, which are scientists who were doing experiments on conduitism and what makes conduits and that sort of stuff, and just things with the conduit gene. And then there's a group that they are like partially partnered with, I guess I could say, called the Conduit Rights League, and they're kind of like the opposite of the DUP. Now, one theory that I had in that video that I made that my friends have not seen yet because I just recorded it, is that in Second Son, I could see something happening to where the Conduit Rights League is fighting against the DUP in like the second half of the game or something, and that's part of the story. But then also, since Bioframe Diagnostics has developed some of the technology that the DUP use, like the conduit scanners, I think that the government may end up forcing them to side with the DUP and cause some sort of like three-way battle with these like different like agency type company whatevers, and that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's 2 things I want to actually mention here. I'll go about them in order. When you were talking about the "Enjoy Your Power" slogan that showed up on these trailers, I don't think a lot of people know about this, but last year in November, Sucker Punch launched this contest, and basically what they did is they told people to make fan-made trailers for Second Son. And you know, the people that had the top 5 trailers, they would pick the winners for these fan-made short films, and whoever the winner was would get like a trip to Spain or something. And so they uploaded these videos to their Facebook page. And there's 5 of these videos. There's the top 5 that Sucker Punch voted for, and in every one of these fan-made videos, the slogan "Enjoy Your Power" shows up. So they teased it on there too, and I never even caught it, which is crazy, because the first time I thought it was an Easter egg at all is when you sent that tweet to me and said, "Hey guys, look at this."
And I teased it and didn't tell you what it was at first.
Yeah. And then what you said about the conduit scanner, you know how they scan their fingerprints and you know it tells them if you're a conduit or not. If you remember in inFAMOUS 2, if you collected all of the dead drops, there was a dead drop where Bertrand is talking to Dr. Wolf, and Bertrand's talking about Nyx, and he says, "Oh, that swamp witch is causing my boys trouble. I wonder if you could whip up some kind of conduit radar." That the light bulb just came on in my head. I was like, "Oh, no way!" So Bertrand was thinking along similar lines 7 years before any of this really happened.
One thing that I wonder if the DUP has something where they think of Bertrand as their founding father who didn't found them in a way, because he was kind of the first person to be against conduits in a way, kind of in a racial way. Although he was a conduit, like maybe they look up to him in some way. I don't know.
Well, he was pretty popular in Infamous too. I mean, he was all over the news, and since that news was all over the world, I'm pretty sure a lot of people around the United States knew about that.
Yeah.
So it could be, but the DUP, from what we know at least, is actually more of a thing that the government set up just to protect people. But there's definitely going to be some shadowy secrets behind it that isn't completely for that reason, I'm sure.
Yeah, there has to be.
Like, one thing... Okay, someone actually left this comment on my video a few months ago. I don't remember who it was, but they had a cool theory where they think that back in Kessler's time, when the Beast came... I might have actually mentioned this in a video, but anyways, back when the Beast came in Kessler's time, he came later than he actually came in Cole's timeline.
Yeah,
probably the Beast came early because of the race fear in John, and Kessler didn't know that would happen. But this guy thinks that the Beast might have been Delsin in Kessler's universe, because that would make sense, because Delsin is a very powerful conduit who can take tons of powers, and over time he could become very powerful like the Beast. And
all he would need to do is touch the Beast in order to do that.
Yeah, but basically
basically,
we're thinking that Delsin was the Beast, and then Delsin came from the Seattle area and destroyed the country and the rest of the world from there. So we think, or I guess this guy, I kind of think it might be happening. The thought is that Kessler arranged setting up the DUP and their primary place being Seattle, because that's where he knew the Beast would come from, and he set them up as a backup plan if Cole didn't succeed, so that the Beast would have less chances of happening. And maybe that's why the DUP are there. But then I have reason to think that they won't do that, because they're making the game so that people who didn't play the first games can play it and understand everything.
Yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense to me. I think that same person told me that theory on my channel too. He commented on one of my videos. And the one reason I don't like that theory is because it creates too much of a shift in the storyline we already know. And what are the chances that Delsin is the Beast? I mean, just because he's the main character doesn't mean that he's the Beast. It doesn't mean we have to focus on the things that happen in Infamous 2 again.
And I have an interesting theory about the DUP. Pyro knows this one. You know the mercenary organization V88?
Yeah, Vermont 88, yep.
Yeah. I believe they have something to do with the DUP, because their powers are similar, first of all. And, what was that?
They have a power transfer device to copy their powers onto each other.
Yeah.
Which is a theory that we've had, that this person who, for now we're just going to call her Augustine, because that's who we think she is, the leader of the DUP lady. A theory that we have is that she may have a power copier sort of transfer device, and that she was the first person to have the concrete power, and then she copied it onto a ton of the DUP guys, and that's how they have it. And why she's going after conduits is so that she can copy their powers onto the DUP, and why she would want Delsin especially is because she could copy his power of of absorbing powers onto the DUP so that whenever they find a conduit, they can take their powers and become the extremely powerful police that can take down
Super
any
soldiers.
conduit because they have like all the powers of conduits they've met in the past.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
You
think
know,
of that?
the more and more you talk about this, the more I think about the comics. And I know you don't think the comics are canon, but I'm going to reference something. In the comics, Moya was trying to create super soldiers. She had a bunch of men from like they were her bodyguards or something, I don't know. She had a bunch of men hooked up to these machines, and she had actually captured Alden Tate. And so she had Alden in this holding facility, and she was trying to transfer his powers to these other soldiers to make these super conduit soldiers. So the more and more I think about the idea that Augustine wants the DUP to capture conduits so she can take their powers and transfer them to the soldiers makes me think more and more that we could possibly be dealing with Moya again. Just there's something about that idea that sticks with me.
And with how you've explained your theories and thoughts, there is a way that the comics could both still be canon and this Augustine character could be Moya. You were saying that because in the comics they showed her in the water and pretty much assuming that she drowned, but you never get any sort of a confirmation that she is dead. So she could have escaped, and let's just say that she could have even had powers then if she's a conduit and is the same person as Augustine and has concrete powers. This is kind of assuming a lot, but she could have had concrete powers, somehow use those to save herself, and Augustine could be a name that she's using, kind of like Cole used the name Kessler when he went to give himself powers and fix things, so that he wouldn't cause confusion. I would think it would be, and also so people wouldn't know he's Cole.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I think
she's
that's a
probably
very
covering up
plausible theory.
her identity, and she tried to fake her death or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense that the government would hire her, and like probably the government knows who she is because she has dealt with conduit situations in the past, and I guess to some degree is good with dealing with them, possibly. Because she was able to trick Cole for most of Infamous 1 into doing what she wanted him to do.
Very easily, too.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think that is a really good theory. And there's one thing, out of all of our ideas, there is one thing that just kind of tips the hat in our favor. I was on the Sucker Punch Twitter page. I know Pyro's probably on there almost every day. I was on there, I think it was last year. This was before any of the other trailers. This was back when the first announcement trailer was still kind of brand new.
Yes.
Someone tweeted to them and said, "Who is the red-haired lady in the trailer? Is it Moya?" And Sucker Punch tweeted back and said, "Oh, the red-haired lady. Yeah, she's really mysterious. Smiley face." They didn't say yes, they didn't say no. If it wasn't Moya, wouldn't you think they would have said no close to right off the bat? Or announced it by now? I mean, yeah, the chances are they probably wouldn't have, but that's kind of suspicious.
Yeah, it still couldn't be Moya, and in fact, I'm kind of leaning more to the side that it isn't, just because it's unlikely. Although they are Sucker Punch and they're known for their plot twists, so at the same time that makes it likely.
Thinking back, I'm trying to remember all the other people in the Infamous series that had red hair and were female. Was it Trish?
No, she had
Had
brown
red
hair.
hair?
She didn't. She wasn't a redhead, and she didn't dye her hair.
Hold on a second, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that.
Alright.
You're forgiven for now.
We didn't talk about anything while you were gone, but Duck
Alright.
Especially
brought
not
up.
bananas and M&Ms.
Yeah.
Oh.
We talked about bananas and M&Ms, but other
And
than that,
broccoli.
Duck like started to bring something up, but then I'm like, no, let's wait till Ian comes. So,
Alright, well,
Well,
let's
wanna
hear
talk
it.
quick
about that?
question.
How about we
Oh, you
talk
want me
about
to?
that?
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
yes. Do you think there's gonna be UGC missions?
I really hope there is, because in Second Son, UGC could be so much better in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just think of all the cool stuff they could do, and especially, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but way back in February of last year, during the first trailer when it was released, that once again, the Sucker Punch Twitter page, a lot of stuff goes on there, but someone tweeted
Right.
and said, I want to see some actual gameplay. And Sucker Punch said, well, what do you think that was? That was gameplay. We just used a different camera angle with the new director mode. So apparently, hopefully, this is official. There's a new mode in the game called director mode where you can go back over a couple minutes of footage and create like these cool trailers, almost like Skate 3. If you played Skate 3 with a video editor, it's going to be probably similar to that. So what I was thinking is, if UGC is in this game, instead of making comic cutscenes like Infamous 2, you could use director mode to make the cutscenes for your custom missions.
That sounds
Mm-hmm.
cool. I think it's going to be in there. I thought it was kind of boring in Infamous 2, but I'd like to see it just as something to do, and also they've probably worked on it to make it better and more enjoyable. The only thing that would make me think we aren't getting it is that they haven't talked about it at all yet, which that isn't really a spoiler, so I think they talk about it. And yeah, but with the director mode, that sounds like it was pretty much just saying right there that there is UGC, and that's how you can make cutscenes for your missions now, is with the director mode.
Yeah, I would love that.
Or probably just make some cool scenes and then upload it with the PS4 share.
Yeah.
Which
You think
I,
it should be?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
which I would be into, like, for making some cool videos. Getting different camera angles on things would be cool, but I wouldn't really use the PS4 share button stuff just because I have a capture card and I don't really need to use it.
Right.
Yeah, what would be really cool is if Second Son itself was able to upload to YouTube, kind of like how
Yeah.
in Black Ops 1 and 2 you can upload to Call of Duty Elite and then upload from Elite to YouTube. That would be cool if they had something like that.
So.
What about
All right.
what about achievements? This kind of seems a little off topic, but I mean,
Or trophies.
Oh, trophies. I haven't even thought about that yet.
I have here. I have a list of what trophies could be. Wait, where is it? Somewhere in here. Trying to find it. Oh, okay. So for the trophies, this is kind of just the same as the trophies for the previous games, but I don't think it would be too different.
right?
I think they're going to have karma and story related ones. Then there's going to be ones for finishing the game on different difficulties, which they might bring in more difficulties, like something harder than hard, maybe. I don't know if they will, but
New difficulty,
They
sibling
might-
rivalry.
and if I have to beat the game on some new hardest difficulty, I will rage so much, but I'll still do it. It just may take a very long time, and
The beast mode.
where you aren't the beast, everyone else is. But
Oh God! Oh God!
I
then
think we found our new rage video.
there would
Oh,
be
yeah.
trophies for collectibles, I would definitely assume. Which, I'm not sure what those will be yet, but I'm guessing there's two kinds of collectibles, unless they've changed it up and made more, or done something interesting, which, let's talk about that once I finish this here. Then
Yeah.
there
right.
will be ones for, like, finishing side missions, ones for like upgrading your powers, and ones that are, I guess I put map related. Oh, like maybe they'll have one kind of in like Infamous 2 for like climbing the tallest buildings and stuff, or doing something cool that has to do with the map. And
Thunder dropping off the Space Needle.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably going to
definitely
be
gonna
one.
something.
Except for it won't be called the Thunder Drop, but they're going to have a different name for it, but we just don't know what that is yet. Just like we called the smoke grenade for now. It might actually be called that, because that doesn't seem too bad, but... And things like calling it the smoke bolt for now, that's obviously not the real name, but just from playing the previous games, that's how we can refer to it for now. Yeah, okay, then for other trophies, like more power-related things, like, there's probably going to be one that's like neon dash for a total of something meters or something. Some big number. Probably something for riding the train. That looks fun. Just like in Infamous 1.
Oh
Then,
yeah, the train looks awesome.
Probably
Something for draining all the conduits,
Yeah,
probably.
that would be a story-related one. But yes, they probably have that. Then
Oh.
there would be ones for UGC if that's in there. And then just like other random ones, like maybe for finding some Easter eggs, they'd have one. Or maybe they'd even have one for going back to the Indian village, kind of like the Back to the Bayou trophy in Infamous 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I would love it if they had that Easter egg that I've talked about some, where you go to Bellevue and find Sucker Punch and mess with the guys who work there, and they all have their own like in-game avatars, and just mess with them, and then you get some sort of a trophy for that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
You see Nate Fox with this really messed up face.
He makes the best weird faces.
Oh, he does. He
does.
does, man.
So, what were you gonna talk? Oh, we're gonna talk about what kind of collectibles might be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's always been some sort of a dead drop.
I think they're going to have something similar to dead drops. There might be some sort of DUP, sort of like intel messages, I would think.
Mm.
But I'm not sure what the main one will be, because I pretty much doubt completely that it will be blast shards.
Yeah. That's for sure. Because I mean, if you look at the power meter, it doesn't look like you can increase the size of that thing.
Uh-huh.
Oh. What about like different blast shards for different powers?
Or something to build up your power meter, you mean?
Yeah. But for like each individual power has its own kind of like power amplifier.
You know what? I never thought of this. You've all seen the power meter in the latest gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know how there's that big black rectangle and only the top part is covered with the color of the power?
Yes.
The power meter is that little black spray paint design.
Yes.
But then on the top is like pink or
and
brown
there's
or
like a little
swirly
design under the color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if when you collect these quote unquote blast shards, I doubt that's what they call them in the game. What if your power meter increases by adding another level, so it further covers up that black design?
That sounds interesting.
If you know what I'm trying to say.
Or it fills it in with something. Maybe.
I guess we'll have to see.
I think that the main collectible, or the most common one that you'll find, will have to do with upgrading something in the game, and it'll be with helping you out. And then the secondary collectible, kind of like dead drops, will be something to learn hidden intel about the story.
Well, you remember in, I think it was the Neon Reveal trailer, there was a scene where Delson is using the static thrusters, and there's a little blue thing in the background. And a lot of people say that's like it's a quadcopter, it's a little remote control flying drone. What if those are the dead drops that the DUP is using to fly these drones around to different locations, and you shoot it down?
Kind of like the pigeons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember
Which that kind of
seeing
reminds me
that.
of something I saw.
Where was that? In which thing was that in?
It was in the Neon Reveal trailer and the
Yeah.
second gameplay where Delson is fighting through the checkpoint. It's actually towards the end, right after Delson gets done punching the mobile unit. He dashes down, and if you look up at the top of the screen, there's a little quadcopter flying across.
That's interesting. I totally missed that. And what part of the Neon Reveal trailer is it in?
It's when Delson is doing, like, he's using the static thrusters for Neon, and in the background, right in front of an evergreen tree, there's this little blue, there's a blue aura around this flying thing.
I noticed that, but I wouldn't think that's a drone. But
not necessarily. You can't really see what it is.
Yeah, I realized that in my trailer breakdown. I said that's probably a collectible similar to blast shards, but that's very interesting how they could have multiple ones for each power, maybe. Like for the neon, there's some, I don't know, like uber neon thing. I don't know what it would be, but something like that. And for smoke, you can collect cigarettes that people smoke. I don't know.
Just
walk up to them and take their cigarette, say smoking's bad for you, but it's good for me, so I'm gonna have this here.